Was the Facebook whistleblower hearing actually about censorship? We did a video about it last week where I said that this person was brave coming forward, but loads of you said that's not the case. Some of you even went so far as to suggest that this person could be a plant, a bad actor. Let's have another look this week and see if we can get a balanced view that incorporates all of our opinions and comes to some sort of conclusion. In every video we make on this channel, I say, give us your comments because we read them when we respond. Now, this video is a great example of that. In our video last week about the Facebook whistleblower, we talked about how, in my opinion and in the opinion of the team here, the Facebook whistleblower was pointing out a lot of irresponsible behavior at Facebook, but loads of you had a totally different opinion. Here are some of your comments. For example, Mitha said, funny how Facebook agrees with the whistleblower, almost like this was planned. Oh, is that possible? Let's go a bit deeper. GGH says, when a whistleblower gets immediate attention, a 60-minute interview and a congressional hearing, while most whistleblowers go to jail, you have to question what's being presented. She's ultimately asking for the government to take more control of social media. The under-the-radar government control of social media will be elevated to necessary. What an interesting opinion. Those weren't the only comments that were coming at it from that angle. Some people went deep. She's an actor. She's got strong ties to the Democratic Party. Now, me, at the moment, and I've not made this video or heard your future opinions yet, remember to comment below, like, subscribe, pass this about, but I feel like that Facebook cares more about making profit than anything else. Any ideological opinions or leanings that Facebook have would be secondary to the pursuit of profit. That's just how capitalism operates. Have a look at my podcast with Anwar Shaikh, where we talk about the ideologies of the pursuit of profit. And like some of you prefer the term corporatism to capitalism. I get you. So let's go a little bit deeper and see if, if any other opinions on this matter support what you guys are saying, if any other research supports what you guys are saying, and see if we can come to some kind of consensus around this. Writing in Jacobin, Branko Marcetic said, thinking about Facebook and what to do with it means grappling with two conflicting sets of facts. One is that Facebook is an immensely useful platform for communication, news, publishing, economic activity and more, which billions of people around the world rely on. The other is that Facebook is a highly addictive and profit-seeking entity that exploits and manipulates human psychology to make money with dire results for the rest of society. Many solutions have been put forward to deal with the problem of Facebook, like using antitrust laws to break it up, or in Section 230 to allow tech companies to be sued for things posted on their platforms, or demanding more transparency from the company and creating a regulatory oversight board. But much of what's been revealed in these documents adds more weight to arguments that the company and other de facto monopolies like it should be treated as a utility or even taken under public ownership. Now, I know that there are a lot of pro-censorship entities and organisations out there. I know that censorship, broadly speaking, is not good for ordinary people. That is prohibitive. It's obviously a form of control. What the system, the corporate statist system, let's say the relationship between the government and powerful financial entities, primarily wants is control. The more control you have, the more money you can make. So any legislation that gives more control to the state and powerful organizations could be regarded as, the pursuit of the corporatist agenda. Anything that's about freedom for individuals, freedom to be who you are sexually, freedom to identify however you are, freedom to live how you want, freedom to own what you want, go where you want to go. Obviously, those are antithetical to the system's aims. Just like companies driving sales by making devices meant to break down and stop working after a few years, it's Facebook's hunger for growth and bigger profits that drive its reluctance to act responsibly. It would seem like a no-brainer to take these incentives out of the equation, especially with these platforms taking on the status of natural monopolies like railroads and telecommunications. That's interesting, I suppose, because you almost have no choice but to use these platforms, because if you go, no, I'm going to use this secondary platform, well, lots of people won't be on there, particularly if you're using it as a business or you need a large reach. In a sense, you have no choice, and that's a form of monopoly. I like that we mentioned planned obsolescence here, because it's a significant issue. Often when we talk about, it's just, how do we change the world? How do we improve the world? And people sense that it's not possible to change the world. Well, That's another thing that could be altered. The banning of planned obsolescence. Some of you will be familiar that in the 1930s, light bulbs were invented that would last for a century and quickly outlawed and banned because the light bulb manufacturers went, hang on a minute, 100 years, I'll be dead by then. We're never going to sell another light bulb. So like, as long as the aims are the continual pursuit of profit, you will get results that reflect that aim. Of course, there are many practical matters that would have to be ironed out. For one, Facebook might be a US company, but its utility-like service are delivered to the entire globe. So there are real questions about what a publicly owned or regulated Facebook would actually look like. Questions like which public or regulated by whom. It's interesting which ideals are brought to the forefront. What are our shared goals? In a sense, once we all feel packaged as individuals, disassociative from the state, from the tribe, from the community, it's much easier to manage us. Who do you belong to really? What community feels like your community? Is it a spiritual or religious one? Is it a national one? Is it a sporting one? Is it a psychotherapeutic one? Where do you feel like you belong? Whose aims, whose goals do you want to pursue? What are your tribal systems of identification? At the moment, I feel we live in a consumer commodity culture where our primary goals, aims, means, methods are earn money, spend money, earn money, spend money, sleep, go back to earn money and spend money. And into this realm, these never before seen cultural Goliaths, these digital giants that control ideological space and cyberspace. They need a different type of regulation. I am against censorship. I feel people should be able to communicate freely and openly. I take your point in the comments. I think it's really interesting. I always think now, I should think, who is served by this piece of information? Who benefits from this piece of information? Is it ordinary people, or does it give more power to the state, or does it give more power to a tech company? If it gives more power to the state and tech companies, then it's obviously in the service of those things. There would have to be stringent oversight and democratic control designed around any such scheme, lest the exploitation and manipulation carried out by the platform simply get transferred from the private sector to the government. Bear in mind, though, that through its surveillance program and cyber operations, Washington and other governments are already using platforms like Facebook to collect and store data about the world's users and manipulate information on them. Already, I suppose we see how Facebook actually operates. A lot of attention is drawn to, say, alt-right or right-wing or even polemic type of information that's conveyed. But probably a bigger threat is the mass accumulation of data and the subtle ongoing manipulation to create a sort of a passive, fearful population that is ultimately obedient. The more obedient we are, the easier it is for the system to pursue its aims, obviously and naturally, without opposition. Sadly, public ownership is not the solution that most of Congress and news outlets seem to be pointing to in relation to this leak. Predictably, this news has produced calls for more intensified content moderation, meaning censorship by these tech companies as a way to prevent the spread of all kinds of misinformation or stop platforms from enabling dangerous social movements, as Hogan accused them. Ironically, this is despite the fact that the documents themselves show the folly of censorship as a solution to these issues. The very first story in the journal series is about how Facebook created a whitelist of many tens of thousands of high-profile accounts, making them immune from censorship for posting the kinds of things that would get other users censored, suspended, or permanently banned. All the while, the company's censors went after low-level users, taking down completely innocuous posts or those whose messages they misinterpreted. These platforms have shown repeatedly that they can't be trusted to accurately and responsibly moderate content, as documented just this week in Human Rights Watch's report on its suppression of Palestinian content. This response is part of a long-standing trend of what Olivia Dutel has termed tech reductionism, the belief that tech companies and their products aren't just harmful and unhealthy for us, but responsible for every bad thing you can think of that's happened in the last few years. In deciding how to deal with this issue and choosing censorship as the way forward, we're in danger of missing the wider political, economic and social factors that are driving the tumult of our current world and ascribing it instead to the near mystical power of social media. Was Facebook really singularly responsible for the January 6th Capitol riot, or was it just one of a number of useful tools that allowed attendees to organise themselves for the event, attendees who were driven by a combination of economic dislocation and largely elite and mainstream media peddled lies? Avoiding mass censorship efforts doesn't mean we're powerless to do anything. There are clear changes that can be made to Facebook's algorithms, design, central mission and resourcing that would bring it closer to the true public service it claims to be than the nihilistic, profit-making juggernaut it operates like, and none of them would threaten our right to speak freely. When dealing with the issue of censorship, I suppose we have to consider whose censorship, who determines what free speech is permissible. That is why it is such a difficult area to adjudicate on. I suppose I've learned a lot from this situation because I still feel that it's unlikely that the Facebook whistleblower is an actor. I hope that's not true. I don't want to live in a world where stuff's that deep and that intense. However, I do agree that when a particular perspective is promoted, it's because that perspective supports the intentions of the most powerful systems and participants in those systems. No one's going to highlight a load of information that would point to, oh wow, I guess what we should do then is say that Facebook should stop making a profit, that it should be broken up and regulated, and that ordinary people should be in control of their own lives, and that we should have something that's like real democracy, and we should ban lobbying, and we should ban planned obsolescence, and we should ban advertising by these companies, and we should ban making profit from medicine. These whistleblowers will not be given their own 60-minute special because, of course, 60 Minutes is on the TV, and the TV is funded by advertising, and the advertising, the people that advertise those products, lobby governments. This is what I mean. I don't think there's any point actually in condemning and criticising individuals when what we face is a systemic problem that requires systemic solutions. We as individuals can do something through non-cooperation, non-participation, activism, organisation, a determination to be who we really are, spiritually, politically, and actually. This issue, I think, is a complex one. I think that a lot of you that made those comments spotted something that we missed. Well done. Thank you. That's why I think you need media that's intercommunicative, transparent and open, where there's opportunity for me to say, yeah, wow, I didn't think of it that way. You're right. You know more than me. What do I know? I'm just one person trying to make my way through life. And I also think that we have to always focus on who benefits from something being true, who benefits from certain information being spread. And also, I think we should collectively focus on what type of world are we actually trying to create? How do you want to live? For me, I want to be able to freely communicate, and I want to be able to communicate kindly. I don't want other people to be hurt as a result of what I've said, and I don't want to live in a tyrannized, censored, oppressive society that cares only about the accumulation of profit and will use any means in order to achieve that goal. But you now know for sure I care about what you think. So why don't you tell me in the comments, give us a like, subscribe, pass it around. If you want to get my mailing list, you can click through and be on my mailing list straight away and receive a direct bulletin straight into your synapses every single week. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at this one, the one that this is a response to. Or have a look at this if you want to learn a little bit more about meditation, and subscribe to my Awaken Inside channel. Thank you very much. Stay free, stay connected.